5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Mack Talks, everybody. I'm your host, Scott Johnson. This fella to my right is your co-host, Chase Hutchison.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Chase, tell the people what the Mack Talks are.
The Mack Talks are that vehicle that brings you the stories that you need to hear from business owners, entrepreneurs, and impactful leaders.
That's right. That's what we are. That is what we do. And today we have a really important guest that we're super excited to have on the show and into our studio, otherwise known as my office. Chase, why don't you introduce our guest to the audience?
So today we have one of the most prominent and articulate voices in our community. She is the editor-in-chief at the Tribuna, Connecticut's largest trilingual newspaper. She serves as the president of the American Dream Foundation, which strives to highlight the cultural, social, and economic contributions of all immigrants while supporting the core American values of equal opportunity. She's a business owner, community leader, and philanthropist, a mother, wife, and daughter, and a living example of the American dream. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Emanuela Palmares.
Wow, what a nice introduction.
You like that?
I thought so. I wrote that myself.
I sound like a nice person.
Yeah, right?
Maybe I am. Let's find out.
How are you? How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
I'm just back from Brazil.
Yeah.
My annual mission trip. So
You got some good sun, some good vitamin D.
I got a little bit. It was raining.
Oh, okay.
It was raining, but we go for the second week of December every year for the past 5 years.
Yep.
And we do a Christmas party for 550 kids at my parents' village in Brazil.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's what I did last Saturday.
Wow.
And we ended up having 750 children and 1,000 people all together.
That's amazing. That's great.
That sounds like so much fun. It sounds like a big party.
It was great. It was great. Basically, what we do is we hire a company to take photos and print them on the spot, and then we hire a Santa Claus. We bring a backdrop, and then we hire an inflatables company, and we turn the town gym into an inflatables amusement park, and we give the families a chance to take a free picture with Santa.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is awesome. So that
Yeah.
actually leads me to a question that I've always kind of wondered, and I've heard rumors about the Santa in Brazil, but is he wear regular Santa clothes, or is he in the Speedo?
He wears regular Santa clothes, and it costs quite, the number of dollars to hire Santas because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So they charge you because it takes a toll on their body for them to wear a full Santa costume under 100-degree weather.
I can
So
imagine.
you have to hire like a professional actor that hydrates and knows, or else like they just faint. So usually you in the Santa industry in Brazil, a cheap Santa will faint on you.
Yeah. That is so funny.
But we come in and we invest. And
Yeah,
we give
right.
them
How
the
much
best Santa
different
experience.
is it down there? Like the holiday spirit, like does that exist? Is it different or is it
Christmas
the same?
is huge.
Huge?
You know, Brazil is, at one point, it was 95% Catholic. So it's a huge Christian country.
Right.
So Christmas has always been huge. In the southern part of Brazil, we were talking before we started, it actually snows once or twice a year. And we do have a lot of European influences in the southern part of Brazil. So Christmas looks a lot like the way it looks here, with a lot of lights and a lot of, outdoor decorations. And when you get to the hotter parts of the country, you see less external decorations and more just like people decorating in their homes because it really doesn't make sense in the outside. But it's a pretty big deal, and children really believe, and we get to be a part of that experience for them every
That's
year.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's such a great thing that you guys do, you and your family. So let's kind of start with how you started and how your family started the Tribuna. So it was started as a kind of by your family, correct?
Yeah. So the
By your mom?
Tribuna was started by my mom and my sister in 1999. Part-time, because they were cleaning houses in the morning and doing the paper in the evening.
Okay.
And I joined the Tribuna around my junior year in high school and kind of never left.
Yeah, right.
So I've been there for that long. But the Tribuna kind of was really birthed out of another project my mom had, where she had me, my sister, and my cousins giving free English classes on Sunday at one of her friends' store on Main Street. So he would lend us the space, and we would volunteer our time to teach basically my mom's friends how to speak English.
Yep.
And then we ended up teaching people how to get their Yankee Gas bill set up, or we'll teach them like where to go to register their kid to school, or where there was a clinic they could go to that was free. And then my mom was like, people really need
A resource.
Yes, like real information, not just like this is what happened to so and so's child in Brazil, where this guy, punched this other guy in the face. It was more like they need to know like how to live here. And that's when she had the idea to create the Tribuna. My sister always wanted to go to school for journalism. She ended up going to Westcombe for journalism. And in that process, my mom was like, why don't I just create a business to give my oldest an opportunity?
That's great.
Yeah, because my sister went to apply for the News Times. They did not give her a job. And then she was very sad, came back, talked to my mom, and was like, I'm creating a newspaper to give you a job.
Oh, that's great.
Because that's just what my mom does. And here we are, thankfully, 21 years later.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you guys do so many different things for the community as well. Take us through a little bit about the American Dream Foundation and what you guys do with that as well.
Sure. The Tribuna kind of, we're a true community newspaper from the beginning. And that's why my mom was very adamant about the Tribuna always starting to also have the English language. Even being an ethnic newspaper, we wanted to show by example that we were a part of a much larger community. And we felt that that was holding back the immigrant community. It was a silo mentality that they needed to just live within their ethnic umbrella, and kind of like regression, right? Because that's what happened to the Italians, the Irish, the communities that came before us. You hear stories of members of our community who their parents said, no, you only speak this language here, or you only speak that language there, and that kind of thing. And we felt that we had that responsibility. So we did that work for about 15 years. And then on our 15th anniversary, my mom decided to have a big gala to celebrate that. And she said, I want to find more people like me. And that's when the idea for the American Dream Awards came about. She goes, what if we put out an essay contest out in the community and see if there's other people that are planning to do something big like we were, when we had no business on thinking of doing things that were big. Because one of the things that people don't realize for the beginning of the years of Tribuna, we were undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
So the courage, I understand that now as an adult, but the courage that my mother had to do what she did then, was incredible. And she always did it with a lot of respect for the community.
Yeah.
And, one thing she always teaches us is like, you always have to dress and act for the job you want in the future. So she goes, we're going to act like Americans because one day we will be.
Yeah.
We're going to act like we're a part of this community because one day we're officially going to be.
Yep.
And that has been our attitude. So with the 15th anniversary with the gala, it was very successful. We had 220 people at the Amber Room. And then she goes, well, let's make it an annual event. So by the time we reached the third event, we felt that it had grown, it had tripled in size. We're reaching 400 guests at that time, and that we needed to create a nonprofit. And the nonprofit kind of became the New American Dream Foundation, the next step for the Tribuna.
Yep.
Because now we're in a community for 20 years. And
now you can really help.
Yeah.
Because you have different organizations that you've worked with that can come together. You're part of the community. You know what I mean?
Relationships that we foster, but it's also one of those things where we feel like our job in a community has evolved because we're living in very different times.
Yep.
We're living in a time when we have a different type of attitude within the immigrant community, a different type of attitude in the mainstream community, and a different type of pressure on the media in general. So we're for 2019 and 2020, we're going to be focusing a lot more on our foundational work and doing some direct work with the community. But the New American Dream Foundation, it's basically a tool that we use to connect all people to the immigrant experience, to really connect everyone to know that they also have an immigration thread story, whether it's through their great-great-great-grandfather or through their mother or through their own story, and put it in a light that is looked at from a human perspective, not a policy. We feel that immigration is often talked about as policy, and it becomes very divisive. And then we lose the human element in that conversation.
Yeah.
And you lose the heart, and then you don't understand how we're all interconnected. You know, so we're trying to change that, and at the same time inspire immigrants to not allow their journey to define their worth. because that's a big struggle in the immigrant community. When you're undocumented, sometimes you feel like you're worth nothing.
Yeah.
Because you have so many messages telling you that you're not supposed to be here, you're not adequate, you're not educated enough, you didn't come the right way. It's a bunch of no, very negative messaging. And we want to allow people to take pride in their courage and their story and own their love for America, because we believe that immigrants come here not because they hate America, it's because they love us so much that they gave up their own citizenship. You know, most countries don't accept dual citizenship. So once you become an American citizen, you're literally saying that you're willing to wage war against your home country.
Yeah.
Like, that was very real to me when I did my citizenship test, when they asked me if the United States ever went to war with Brazil, that I was making the commitment that I would raise arms against Brazil. And I said yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a really big commitment. And I think that sometimes people don't take that into consideration.
Yeah. Yep. And going back to kind of what you were just saying before about, you know, taking pride and, you know, being an American, like the stories that, you know, the recipients of the awards tell, I mean, they're amazing. You know, they're American. Like, that's the American story that you heard from the Italians and you heard from the Irish. You know what I mean? It's the same story from years and years ago. So it's great that you're highlighting that human element, like you were saying, because you start talking about immigration, it's so political and stuff.
Right.
But, you know, you're actually doing something that's actually helping, and that's kind of growing out. So I think that's really, really awesome.
And listen, thank you so much for joining us last year.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it was
like
great.
You guys, your participation really made the event even better. We hope to count with you again next year.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's one of those moments, you know, what I love about the gala is that when you look in the room, you see our community reflected. You see people from all over Danbury. It's not the usual chicken circuit, you know, that you're seeing the usual suspects over and over again. And we look for that to be reflected in the sponsorship and the attendees and the award recipients. So it's one of those nights where the Tribuna becomes a person.
Yeah.
And we get to interact with that person. It's the personification of everything that my mom envisioned for the paper to become. And sometimes just crazy when I talk about it. It's like, I've been doing this for 21 years as a family. And it's sort of like, you know, we call it the fourth child.
Yeah, it's part of your
right
life.
now.
Yeah,
So,
it's not even like
no.
it's not a job. It's just your
No,
life. It's
I
part
think
of
it
your
would just publish itself even if I wouldn't show up at this point.
Yeah. So was your mom entrepreneurial in Brazil
Always.
before she came as well? Always.
Always. You
Yeah.
know, my mom's
And that's obviously where you and your sister get
we have no choice.
your entrepreneurial
we
spirit
have
from,
no
right?
choice.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman, she is my role model, right? And I am unapologetically, completely in love with my mom.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
She's amazing. My mother never met her parents.
Yep.
And she always had to survive. She always had to make a way for herself. She was adopted in Brazil. The family wasn't all that kind to her. So she started working around 6 years old. They taught her how to take care of the house, take care of some pigs they were tending to. One of the first times that she recalls eating steak was when she would go to restaurants at this village and get the leftover foods to feed the pigs. And this one chef wrapped a piece of steak in a newspaper and put on top of the garbage can for her.
Yeah.
So we're talking about extreme poverty, lack of love, regular childhood, violence, and that person ends up being one of the most nurturing people in my life.
Yeah.
And completely decided to give us everything she didn't have. So in that journey, she had many businesses in Brazil. I mean, my mom has owned a travel agency.
Oh, wow.
She has owned a photography studio. She's done so many different things. Whatever she needed to do on her own, whether it was selling boxed lunches to, bank workers a block down from her apartment in Brazil.
Yeah.
Or taking pictures or doing whatever. She did what she needed to do to raise her girls on her own.
That's great.
So that's the example we've had. And she's always been a fighter. And her vision is also inclusive of a whole community. She always asked us, what are we doing for people other than us? So I remember in Brazil, us being, not kind of like middle class, but not even upper middle class. And every Christmas, she would go to a local or orphanage and host one of the children to have Christmas with us. Like that was our life.
That's
so,
great.
We've never.
It's kind of almost like she's passed on that, that cook giving her the steak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's passing, like she's doing the same thing. She's giving people opportunity. Like she's giving people, the chance. Obviously even more than what the guy that gave her the steak was, but she took that like, oh, this guy, he helped me, he cared about me, so I'm gonna kind of do that as well.
She says that everything that was not done for her is her responsibility to create for other people.
Wow, that's great.
And that's a very powerful concept to live by, and it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So we were raised under those values. So for us to volunteer, I mean, by the time I remember I was 19 years old, I already served on 3 different boards in the community, you know. So we were raised with that expectation that we needed to do for people what you know, wasn't done for us, and be ambassadors of sorts wherever we went. So it's been a very long journey, but it's been amazing. Like, I am proud to be her daughter. I love working for her.
Yep.
And seeing her every day.
So you pretty much run the Tribuna now, or she's kind of...
I do. So Mom, unfortunately, she's had a lot of health challenges. She's had cancer. She had about 13 surgeries, you know, and like I said, she's a fighter.
I was just getting ready to say she's a fighter.
She's a fighter, you know, like, I got good genes.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know, people, you know, like, for people to take me down, it's going to take a lot of effort.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly,
Like, let's just say that, because I've got some good genes.
Yeah,
like, you know, the world's been
No
trying
quit.
to take her out of the picture, and it's not working. She's had a lot of issues, so she's taken a huge step back now. She's focusing more on our efforts in Brazil. The weather there is better for her health.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So she's sort of like 3 months here, 3 months there now, and it's what we wanted for her to be able to do.
Yeah,
you know? So
that's what you guys working towards as well, right? I mean,
yeah. So I hold a ship down for her, and you know, but she's my oracle. So I don't make any major decisions without consulting her, and you know, and
I'm sure she's got a you know, her finger on her, you know.
Oh, she's still type A. She doesn't let go of anything.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like,
She's from afar.
I still get yelled at. So it's like, and I like it. You know, it's our relationship. I'm comfortable with wanting to be a continuation of her.
Yep.
You know,
that's
like,
great.
and I take that with a lot of pride. So as long as she'll mentor me, I welcome.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm lucky.
And your father as well. He's been an entrepreneur also, right?
Gosh,
I mean,
my
tell us a
dad's
little bit about
story.
him and his story and what he's kind of done, because that plays into, you know, being able to do the things you've done with the paper, because I would imagine it's not a huge income driving resource.
No. Concrete pays the bills. For
That's
sure.
what I'm saying.
Concrete pays the bills.
Yeah.
You know, Dad is my best friend. Like, we're each other's like #1 fans, and his story is the incredible classic American dream story, because, you know, his brother got him a job, and it was like, you know, it's his younger brother, the party guy.
Yeah,
so,
right.
you know, literally like 2 weeks after he gets my dad a job with this construction company, my uncle gets fired. My dad keeps the job. And then, you know, because the kid party's hard. What can I say?
Yeah,
He's not a
right.
kid anymore. He still acts like it.
Yeah, right.
But, and then dad continues. The guy sees that he's doing really well. His background is in accounting, and he is pouring himself into this work, learning how to read plans, and gets promoted to being the foreman and then manager. Then the guy has to go to Portugal back and forth, kind of leaves the company under my dad's, leadership for 3 months, comes back, and my dad says, you know what, I've saved enough money, I want to be partners.
Yeah.
They become partners. Eventually my dad buys him out, and this is the company we have to this day.
That's right.
You know, so it was that first opportunity. And today my dad reads, you know, plans for multi-million-dollar homes. I mean, he's building homes that have indoor basketball courts and bowling alleys and things like that. And he would catch errors from an architect and be like, no, this is not possible in your drawing. You have to go back and you have to redo this. So I'm extremely proud of him. And he is just a huge supporter of everything his girls do.
Yeah. That is the American dream.
Yeah.
You're right. That is the American dream.
Hard work, determination, commitment, and just the will to keep going. That's what it's all about. And that's a tough industry to be in. Construction's so
it is
physically and mentally. I mean, because what it is, you're dealing with a lot of people in that industry that can just get a job like they have criminal backgrounds, some of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the
and
cream
it's
of the crop.
foundation work. So we're talking like one of the toughest jobs in construction.
Because everything is going on top of that.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
like his
you're
responsibility.
It has to be on.
The
Oh,
liability.
if you mess up, it's hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. So, you
potentially.
know, I know a lot about, you know, poured concrete and frames and rebar and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
We
That's
all
funny.
help each other out in our businesses. So I work in the Tribuna, but I also work at Amazon. You know, I do a lot of my dad's billing. I do a lot of his client contacts. And, you know, we kind of have this Brazilian/Indian family kind of feel to the way we live. We have a 3-family home in Danbury. All the children, other than my older sister, so me, my son, and my husband, were on the second floor. My parents on the first floor. My brothers are on the third. And the boys work with dad in construction. I do some of the billing. I also do the paper. And we all help each other.
That's
and
great.
It's like what it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And for us, it works just living in our smaller community. And then we take that feel and we expand it out into the greater community.
Yeah. No, that's great. To go back to the American Dream really quick. So tell us a little bit more also about what you're able to do with the money from the American Dream as far as providing healthcare here in Danbury. And
Sure.
stuff.
So we partner with Western Connecticut Health Network and Danbury Hospital, and a beautiful day that they have. And it turns out that it's literally like a month after the gala. That's called Mission Health Day. You know, for the foundation, we believe that the 3 pillars that have made sure that we're successful in America is focusing on education, on civic engagement, and health. Because health was the reason why we came here, because of my mom's story.
Yeah.
So with our efforts for education, it's basically the scholarship that we really change lives. And it's more than just a $2,000 check. It's the ability to give that student the confidence to take pride in their immigration story.
Yep.
And then we have the Person of the Year, the Veteran of the Year. And those are just people that we want to highlight as real celebrities in our community, just like what you're trying to do here with your show.
Yep.
And then the Lifetime Achievement Award is how we connect the older immigrant communities with their stories of the new immigrant communities that are in our community right now. And then for our health initiative, it's this project of all the ticket proceeds from the gala go towards Mission Health Day. Last year, we were able to donate around $13,000, and we were able to underwrite all the flu shots and buy about 50 brand new coats, a Burlington coat factory, and give out that day. And it's a day of free health care, no questions asked. So if people are underinsured or don't have insurance for whatever reason, maybe it's homelessness, maybe it's financial, maybe it's because of documentation that they have the resources, but because they don't have a green card or they're not a citizen, they can't purchase insurance in the exchange. So it's a day for people to get a well check. Danbury Hospital comes in huge and set up a field hospital, Army style, and we have 13 of some of our best doctors in Danbury Hospital that do full physical consults, and people get to get their eyes checked, blood pressure, diabetes. So it's a great way to make sure that our community is healthy, and at the same time to shed light on this issue of access of health.
It's such a great, it's funny that I just heard about it recently, when we had connected, because it's definitely such an awesome cause, and it does so much for the community.
Yeah.
You know, it helps the immigrants, it helps the past immigrants with just, how they feel and just being a part of the community, but then it also helps just people who aren't immigrants that, that need to get healthcare and can't afford to do it. So I just think that's really awesome. So what do you have on tap for 2019?
So 2019, like I said, Tribuna is going to actually go from biweekly to monthly.
Yep.
So that we can focus more on our foundation work. And unfortunately, it's also the trend of our print newspaper industry right now. And we are going to start a scholarship program for citizenships. So we are going to look to underwrite the cost of the citizenship application for people that can't afford it. And that's about $750 per person. That's just the fees to apply for citizenship.
Yeah.
So we're going to be raising some money so that if there are people in our community who are eligible to become American citizens and they can't do it right now because it doesn't fit in their budget, that there's going to be an application process, and we're going to look to pay for that fee so they can become an American citizen.
That's great, because I mean, if you can qualify for it, you're pretty much 90% there, and then that $750 is going to hold you back.
It depends with the test, because I think that what opens up is we're looking at the group of people who have their green cards and maybe didn't focus so much on their language skills over the years because they're able to open a small business, they're able to survive off of their community. So the citizenship, it's a great way to get those folks to go back to study English, to, as they study for the citizenship test, they have to have a Civics 101 class that we're going to provide as well.
Okay.
So it's a great opportunity to get them to really kind of put down their roots and drill down in American history and get a deeper understanding of our country.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work with the young people, and now we're looking to look at my dad's generation and see who hasn't made the plunge yet, who's been saying that they're leaving and going back home for 20 years, you know, and how can we just lock them down and say, accept that you're not going back home, this is your home, and how can you become an active participant in the society so that we can change immigration reform, not by me telling you what it needs to be done, but by you being able to vote.
Yeah.
And we feel that it's our job now. The next step for the foundation is to help people understand how powerful it is for them to exercise their citizenship to the full and become citizens.
Yeah.
And how ultimately that's the only way that's going to bring about real immigration reform. It's a larger mass of immigrants with our story, real fresh in their heart still, being able to exercise that with their vote.
That's great. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. I'm excited to see, you know, when that rolls out. I'm excited to give any input that I might have and work with you
Absolutely.
like always.
We want to continue to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, I think this podcast is a great thing. I think it's also a way for people to just be inspired to do something different. And for us, that's been our job for 20 years. We just want people to be inspired to love where they've chosen to live.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
And be there present in mind, body, and spirit. You know, a lot of times with the immigrants, they migrate their bodies over, their hearts stay back home. The mindset doesn't always come at the right time. So
It's definitely a process, right?
yeah,
Like
we've been trying to get everything for the person to be whole here and present so they can take full advantage of this great country, because at the heart of it all that we do as a family is because we absolutely love the United States of America. And I cannot thank this country enough for the things it's done for me, for my parents, that will do for my son, who was lucky enough to be born here. But, you know, he has autism.
Yeah.
When I go back home and I see children in Brazil that have the same diagnosis as my son and the lack of opportunities and treatment that they have, it hits me so hard. And I sometimes even wonder, like, is it all because God knew I was going to have a child with special needs?
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes
and
that's
then
what they say,
like my parents decided to come here, and I am the one reaping the most overwhelming benefit.
Yeah.
Because my son has an opportunity here that if he was born with special needs in Brazil, he will never have.
Yeah.
So, you know, you always wonder
Sometimes
what was the purpose.
Yeah, the position that you get put in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But that's my guy, Caio Ninja.
yeah,
That's
he's cool. I love that kid's hair.
that kid
has
tight.
the coolest haircut
He kind of
ever. Every time, and
does.
it's always super tight. Is there a barber in the house? Like
There
the kid,
is.
I mean, it's
I want
always.
to do a shout out to G Fuego in New Milford. Gustavo went to high school with me.
He has that line snapped perfect every single time. I love it.
And Caio sits for it, and it's really the work of another amazing professional. And I will give you guys a tip. This is someone you guys have to interview. Amazing story. He would cut Caio's hair because of Caio being in the spectrum a year and a half ago on the floor.
Wow.
And he would open up the barbershop for Caio early because Caio could not stand having anyone touch him.
Yeah.
Now Caio loves getting his hair cut. And like on the 8th day of that haircut, I'm telling you, he goes, Mommy, it's time for me to see Gustavo.
That's
He wants
funny.
it fresh.
Yeah, that's awesome though that he's.
Mommy keeps it fresh.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
awesome that he's able to adjust and kind of do that
Yeah,
for him. That's great.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. So, all right. Well, kind of wrap up. Chaserford's got an important call. This is usually the part of the show where I'm like, all right, Chase, you got to go do outreach. You got to go do sales. And then he gets annoyed with me. He's like, why do you say that at the end every time? But the kid's a hustler. This is what he does. So
Hey, you got to make money to keep doing this podcast.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Basically,
that is
that's what
right.
it
We
is.
got to
That's
take
my
all
mom
the.
Gotta
tells
put
me.
fuel in this fire. I mean,
Sure
That's
do.
it.
Sure
Someone's gotta
do.
do it.
Oh, and then guess what else today is? Today is our work Christmas party.
Ooh.
Yep.
So last night we were making cutlets. This
Nice.
guy makes a good cutlet. I know
Do
when you
you?
look at him, it might not look like it.
I was a sous chef, a cook for 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
what do we have on the menu today? We have
Short rib, chicken parmesan, rice and beans, garlic bread,
green bean casserole.
green bean casserole.
Nice.
Mostly, I mean, some of it was just like, oh, I know how to make this. So let's
Gotcha.
just make it. And then other stuff was like more traditional, like Christmas, like green bean casserole.
Gotcha.
My family has it every year, you know.
So we're about
Around
to
Christmas
get that stove warmed up. We got a full kitchen in the office.
Oh, so
here.
you guys cook it right here?
Yeah. Well,
One
we
day you should
prepped all
you
last
should
night.
invite me to do a keto
before-
meal for you guys.
I
at
know,
some
right? Oh, I
point.
just forgot. We got to talk about the keto. So You are obviously hardcore keto
Keto for life.
Keto for life. So tell us really quick about that before we go.
Keto's awesome.
You love it, right?
I love it. It changed my life.
Yep.
I have lost 20 pounds.
That's great.
And I have gotten rid of 2 very serious health issues that I was having. And right now, I'm almost at 8,000 followers on Instagram for
That's great.
my keto account, Keto Menu.
Yep.
And I just love posting about eating a very healthy lifestyle where I eat mostly fats, like bacon and heavy cream and cheese.
Nice.
Coupled with a moderate amount of protein and lots of green vegetables and berries. And it's not for everybody. But people that are curious, they should check with their doctor, check their cholesterol levels, check if they're okay. And if they're looking to lose weight, especially women, if they're looking to do a reset for their hormones, if they're having issues, it's really one of the best diets out there. Also for people who are going through cancer treatment, it's a great way to eat. So if you want more information, go to Instagram and look for Keto Menu. And
you have a lot of like different recipes. You always put
yeah,
pictures
so
up.
I have a test kitchen. So I use keto to curb my cravings. So if I feel like having cheesecake, I look up keto cheesecake and I try out keto cheesecake recipes. And so I have a website, ketomenu.com, where I post these test recipes that I do. Some are original, some are from other people that I credited to, and I tell you what works and what doesn't. And then through Instagram, I post at least 3 meals a day that I've actually made for myself to eat.
Oh, that's great.
So everything I post
People
on Instagram,
can go along with, they can follow your journey.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, and
that's
I just
great.
started school this week. I'm back at school to become a health coach.
Lots of hats this one wears over here.
I do. Why not? Life is short. Why not
Yeah,
do
I know,
it
right?
all?
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible journey. So I can, in the future, help other people find the right diet for their body. This is the right diet for my body. It may be something else for you.
Yeah.
But I love the keto.
For me, my diet is more like, Pippas and, no, I'm just kidding.
But you can do keto on Pippas, So
That's true.
that's the unbelievable
That's
thing.
true.
The other day I had a tight schedule and all I had available to me was fast food, and I had, just some hamburger patties with cheese.
No bun.
No bun,
Yep.
the side lettuce, tomato,
Yep.
so it's very versatile.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Looking
Good luck with
forward
this.
to working with you on all your endeavors and everything, obviously staying in touch like we do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
do
joining
that.
us.
And
My
that's it.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Signing
Thank you.
out.
Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.